Today's day is August 9, 2026. My name is Neng Hong Lam. This video is note on the Adara book series update and also about this morning, the note I wrote on my novelist occupation, such as writing the Adara book series. Okay, so just pretty much is like I don't know. I think just this. I think could. Well, I mean, recently I just made a sort of like what I wrote in my Adora updates. Basically, like these videos is where this is like it's just like 5 updates so far, Adora updates, and basically in those updates I was saying that it's I'm on book 6, and the title of book 6 is Redemptions. And as I'm writing the Adara book 6, Redemptions, it's sort of like in a way have the protagonist and the main character kind of like in a way talk about a little bit of my situation as I'm going along. So like in a way, it might not. I don't know. Like that's why I have updates, to just explain. Maybe that's not how traditional novels are like. Like you don't really hear a lot from the protagonist talking about the creators slash writers of the novel, like the novelist slash creator. So maybe it's not really that kind of like in a way it might make exceptions to other novels. It's probably you might not seen that as much, or maybe you haven't really came upon it and things like that. Anyway, I'm making those updates on it just to basically kind of like in a way just for the people. I don't know, like right now I still haven't got feedback on my PTTS blog or on my YouTube channel. Just in case in the future, if I do have feedback, if people do come to my YouTube channel and PTTS blog, just in case for that reason. And seems like anyway, so pretty much just want to point that out. And pretty much like also saying like there's a prayer that I made in book 6. Like so far I made 2 prayer. The first prayer I made in chapter 2, and the second prayer I made is in chapter 7. The first prayer on chapter 2 is maybe about 2 paragraph, like actually about 5 to 6 paragraph at most, and the one at chapter 7 is pretty much the whole chapter 7 is my prayer. So it's a really long one. And on chapter 7, basically it was just talking in this prayer, through this prayer, talking about something that I haven't talk about before. Pretty much it's just something I felt that it's really might create a lot of confusion and complications to my situation and things like that. So I only kept it as a prayer in chapters 7 in book 6. So kind of like in a way, maybe hopefully in the future do, like there's that sympathy that is a prayer in a novel and things like that. And basically it is kind of like in a way it is just really a really cruel situations where I don't know how did I don't like I just that's why it's really hard. Like I don't know how who gave my father the privilege, to destroy everything that I get into in my life. So like, it's just so he's my father. He kind of like in a way, like a father that just destroy everything in his son's life, kind of like in a way, yes, he's my father, but that is still, also a human being, that's like against my right and against me as a human being and things like that, it's like pretty much I think it's this, it's like someone trying to copy my father, like he get away from, destroying everything in his son's life, it's sort of like in a way, like this trying to do what my father did, trying to achieve that, like letting the whole city getting away, trying to convince the whole city to let him or her get away with that, like trying to copy what my father did, trying to get away with. So like in a way, I felt maybe it's like a copycat or something, someone want to copy like my father, trying to be very cruel to get away with something that is very cruel. Anyway, like I'm saying, that's why I'm trying to it's been like just simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity because of this, this if someone is being very cruel like my father could set me up in a situation where the whole city of San Diego is going, make me feel like the whole San Diego, all the people in San Diego going against me, trying to copy my father being very cruel. So to avoid, this kind of setup, that's why I'm keeping everything at simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity to avoid this. Once get caught into this, it just felt like much it's all because in the past my father got away, with destroying everything in my life in the past. So I felt maybe someone trying to copy what my father did, it's like being very cruel and anyway, that's why currently like just trying to keep everything simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity, just to not fall into the setup, to make me feel like the whole city of San Diego is going against me. That's what they want me to feel. That's the trap, getting away with being very cruel like my father. So just to avoid falling into that trap and believing that the whole city of San Diego is going against me. That's what they trying to set me up on. And so I'm just keeping everything at simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity, to just not fall into that setup. And because it is really devastating to have the whole San Diego to go against me. That's just very devastating. I mean, yes, so like in a way, in the past, my father did got away with, like destroying everything in my life. It's also very devastating. He's supposed to be my father, supposed to be supportive and things like that. And my father's name is Lam Chung Wan, and also this whole chapter 7, explaining this prayer, through this prayer, explaining how it becoming like that, it's just kind of like in a way, he obviously, he can't just do it publicly, they're probably not gonna get away with that, maybe just basically in this prayer explain how did he got away, with something so cruel and everything. So pretty much in that chapter, that through that prayer, it's like anyway, it's just so coincident that me and my sibling, we were living in the poor feudal countryside of Song Ba, Vietnam. So life was very poor and tough struggles. So kind of like in a way, and seeing that if without our parents we would be orphaned, and it would be even poorer and even more devastating. So sort of like in a way that was our our parents, our father and mother are very important to us, because without them we would be orphaned. So kind of like in a way, like I was saying, that you have to read that whole prayer that I made. It's kind of like in a way, that's why it was just very devastating. Okay, anyway, I just, like, again, I have to keep everything. It's simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity, because I have already made so many of these videos where talking from the camcorder, and I have uploaded many of them on my YouTube channel. I've wrote many articles and posted up on my PTTS blog. That's why I have to keep it as simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity. Before I'm just gonna, okay, I have to pause in between because I'm about to shout out, like why it's the whole, kind of like in a way, why doesn't it seems like I'm falling into this setup, it's like, why couldn't, okay, anyway, I have to pause it, the video. Okay, there's some background activity also going on right now. I'm gonna move to a different location, so I'm gonna pause the video for a second. Okay, so anyway, just want to say that I'm a victim of a very cruel act, like cruel some setup someone is behind. I like the only right now is what I point out earlier, that because of my past, that my father got away with his really cruel thing that he did to me, and he got away with it. So that I'm saying, I'm a victim. First my father, now someone trying to set me up again, as so like I'm saying, I'm the victim. There's supposed to be someone, it's like an attorney, a lawyer, someone, supposed to be backing me up. I'm a victim. How come there's no one it's standing up for me and things like that. It's like, anyway, like I'm saying, that's why I don't know, basically pretty much like in the notes as I wrote on my occupations as a novelist, it's just like, keep, I don't know, like it's like, I'm falling right into that person's very cool setup. It's like, because I don't know, like the whole morning's been bothering, like, why, how come I don't matter in San Diego, and I want to, create like a survey going around San Diego asking people how come Neng Lam doesn't matter in San Diego, and like ask them this question and let them answer, and trying to do a survey about it. And it's just like I'm fall right into that person very cool setup, making me like the whole city's going against me and all of that. So it's like, it's like, that's why I made this video, try to take a step back. It's been the whole morning's been bothered by that. It's like, okay, I don't know, it's just really hard, it's really upsetting to hear the voices in my head saying that, I don't want to talk about the voice in my head, but just, you know it's all it, there's just okay, I'm gonna take it back. Just this, for now, it's kind of like, like, okay, I have to pause the video. Okay, pretty much a car is gonna run me over, kill me at the scene, and as an act of mercy to end my pain and misery, because that person, that very cruel person, is copying my father, knowing my father got away. It's like, I would, if I find him, I would, would rather run him over with a car. Why have to let him continue with his cruelty? It's like, anyway, think my father got away, he could also get away with it, just like a copycat, have no originality, or maybe even think he's better than my father, Chong Wan Lam, and he probably think he could even get, maybe get even, probably not only get it, probably like, go further than just get, like, go even more cruelty than my father, like, anyway, like I'm saying, so pretty much, so that's why, like, I've been just kind of breathe in air and just like simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity. There's law, there's justice, and all of that. They'll eventually, maybe they could get away. Maybe I'm just another victim. Maybe they get like probably like maybe 100, 1,000 more, whatever number they're going after. It's like, but one day maybe they get older, they become, not as, like how they were young, and they will eventually get caught, and they're gonna pay for all the crimes they committed. It's like, felt like maybe my father got a lucky break. He just died on his old age on his bed. Maybe, I felt like he got really lucky. Just a lucky break that he get to die old age on his bed. It's like, anyway, like it's saying, whoever's doing this, maybe they probably could get away until they get older. Maybe not as like my father. Probably can, probably they might not get so lucky like my father, get to die in their bed. Maybe people going to do very cool thing back to them when they get older and things like that. And okay, anyway, I don't know, like probably someone's gonna run me over, kill me at the scene as an act of mercy, put me out of my misery and pain. Cause anyway, I just maybe there's someone, like I'm saying, like maybe, I don't know, like my father got away with it. Now this person, this copycat, I don't know, like, would someone stand up and arrest this copycat, or would they let this copycat get away again? It's like my father did. It's like, anyway, so I don't know, like maybe that's the only way, maybe unless there is someone who sees something in me that is really, like, don't believe that, I don't know, like I'm pretty much just want to point out my situation right now. That's why I have to keep everything simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity. Just the setup is very devastating to have, just doing the best I can. It's like to keep things at simplify after simplify, simplicity after simplicity. That one day, so pretty much just right now, so pretty much that's what I want to say. And okay, so that is the note. So I'm gonna end this video in 3, 2, 1.